Hello, my name is Amit Narayan, and I'm speaking today to Pratyush Rao, Control Risk South Asia's Regulatory and Political Risk Director, about data centers, an asset class that is at the heart of the digital ecosystem that India is looking to build. Pratyush, can you tell us a little bit about the prevailing policy attitudes about this key enabling sector in India?
Sure, Amit. I think the main one really is that the policy environment in India today for the data center industry is very piecemeal and fragmented. So, for instance, there are still no national level overarching frameworks governing the development of data centers. The Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology last November did introduce a draft policy, which, amongst other things, seeks to accord infrastructure status to these asset classes. But the reality is that it is still a draft policy with no real timeline in sight as to when it might get adopted. So at least for the time being, foreign companies will have to continue to monitor state level regulatory and policy environments before they make an investment decision.
And as they track these evolving policy tenets, what are some of the additional operational considerations that they should be looking at as well?
So, Amit, the prevailing business model for a lot of foreign data center companies in India is to enter into a joint venture with local partners. And most of these local partners tend to be real estate developers. Now, while on one hand, it does afford them significant leverage in terms of their ability to kind of navigate the operational environment, but the reality is that this linkages between the commercial real estate sector and the data center business also could potentially expose them to significant reputational integrity and corruption touch points. And that is something that they need to keep in mind. And one of the ways they could mitigate this is by making sure they conduct a full-fledged due diligence into their local partner before going ahead with the business decision.
And when it comes to other discernible patterns within this sector, can you talk to us a little bit more about some typical trends here?
Yeah, so locations where a large number of cable systems terminate and therefore offer reduced latency, like Mumbai and Chennai, and those that currently support a significant technology base, like Hyderabad and Bangalore, offer significant advantages to data center operators and therefore emerge as strong favorites in terms of choices to set up these data centers. On the other hand, it's quite important to recognize that there are other input considerations here at play as well. So, for instance, the access to quality infrastructure like adequate power supply, water supply. Those are important considerations which companies will need to factor in before choosing where they establish a data center. And so it's quite important to benchmark the relative strengths and weaknesses of different locations before settling in on a specific location, Amit.
Thank you. You've spoken a lot about the planning stage, the head end. In closing, can I ask you to enunciate some operating risks that data center service providers are likely to face in the kind of design, build, and operations phase?
Yeah, so data centers obviously require a very tightly integrated network of equipment, facilities, personnel, procedure, and expertise. So in addition to security reviews, we also recommend that clients stress test a data center security measures by carrying out complex live penetration testing and evaluating the efficacy of physical, technical, and procedural risk mitigation measures that are currently in place.
Thank you. So what I'm hearing you say in summary is that there is a national data center policy framework emerging, but there are some states that are doing better than others. Especially as foreign data center service providers ought to be considering the partnership route, but also need to be very conscious of the significant reputation and policy risks inherent. And even beyond the planning stage, carefully benchmarking their risks and opportunities through the design, secure, and build stage, as well as the operating stage, is very, very critical. Thank you very much, Pratyush. That was really insightful.